Let's have a look at these boots, new boots. Zamberlan, new to me. I've been aware of them for 30 years or so, but I've never had a pair. I've always gone into the shops as it was in the 80s and 90s, looked at the Zamberlan and bought the Scarpa. But I think these might be the boots for me. This is what we've got. WL means wide last, but look at the size, 48. Quite a few of the reviews that I looked at suggested these ran about half a size small. This is what we've got in here. I'm pretty sure I know what this is. This is Hydro Block, the conditioning cream, but nicely presented. And Zamberlan are pretty keen that you keep these boots well by giving care instructions. I like that, but nicely presented. These are the heaviest weight boots I've bought for quite some time. I must admit I wasn't aware of them, but I think they've been around for about 10 years. I think they're an amazing looking boot. I saw one review where the reviewer had swapped out these laces for plain red, but I think these work really well. The colour is described as dark grey, which I suppose it is, but half a shade darker and they'd be black. And then we get the amazing sole. There are loads of reviews on these boots out there, video reviews, reviews by expert reviewers, retail shops, and individuals that are reviewing on retailer sites and on the Zamberlan site. Quite a lot say that they're not happy with the sole, that it wears out, and they used a term to say that it was chunking off. What I thought they meant by that was that these lugs actually came off. It's not. What apparently happens is you get little chips from sharp stones, and that's what's coming off. You know, the couple of millimeters popping off at any one time, probably less. But it's an aggressive sole. We're told that this is really helpful digging into the terrain on descent. These are good for ascent, and that the boot has this rolling action. Just taking it out of the box, apart from the amazing looks, I can't believe they brought this out 10 years ago. Is the quality. The quality is phenomenal. I like this collar, which is supposed to be breathable. I like these hooks as well, which enable you to really secure your foot and heel down, so you get a good non-slip, hopefully no blisters. This apparently helps with the articulation, but it might be worth comparing with the Targi 3. You might think it's an unfair comparison. The different boots are different situations, and I would say that's the case, but I've seen numerous reviews where these boots, these two boots have been put together. I would say the quality of the Zamberlan is in a different class than the Keen. The design, I don't know, they've just managed to combine tradition with this one-piece leather with a sole that is way ahead of its time. I have tried these on size 48, as are the Targis, and it seems to be a perfect fit for me. They're the wide last. So my assessment, as with the Keen Targis, is they're running about a half size small. As for the fit, not as wide as the Keen. So if we're in American sizing, I would say the Zamberlan is a double E, the Keen is a triple E. But first impressions, I'm very impressed. The Zamberlan VIOZ 996 GTX, it's a boot that's been around for at least 10 years now, possibly more. Maybe it's evolved from a previous incarnation, but in that time there have been hundreds if not thousands of reviews by individuals, by magazines, by retailers. There've been videos, there's been written reviews from ordinary people that have bought the boots and have put a comment on a forum or whatever. In that time there's been some poor reviews, almost exclusively relating to the sole of the boot. It's quite a unique sole, I've never seen anything like it. It's an aggressive tread pattern, and very often attention is grabbed by the ones that are giving poor reviews. And I'm not saying anything about these reviewers, I believe every word they say, I'm sure they're sincere in what they're saying. And what the reviewers seem to be commenting on is that the soles wear out very quickly. Well, I don't know that, I've only just got the boots, but they are resolable, presumably by Zamberlan themselves. They're not a Goodyear welt, they're a cemented construction glued down, but if they do wear out, you can get a new sole. It's not that you're throwing the entire thing away. I don't know the pricing. The other thing that they're saying is there's frequent referencing to chunking off. I didn't know what that meant either. I thought it might mean that entire lugs were coming off, but no, it's little 1-2 millimeter chips that are coming off. I think what we need to remember is these boots have been going for a decade, and Zamberlan haven't pulled it. If it was so disastrous, I'm sure they would have, or they would have done something to the design. Also, Vibram is a Vibram sole. They don't want their reputation being tarnished by supplying a substandard product to a major manufacturer like Zamberlan. So I bought it thinking should be okay, and if the worst comes to the worst, I'll just get them resold. One thing I would say is pay attention to what Zamberlan say about these boots. They describe them as a backpacking and trekking boot. They're not putting them out there as a mountaineering boot, a scrambling boot. I didn't buy it to go and do the Scottish Munros. It's just far too rugged. A lot of the critical reviews that we've seen are saying that the boots get very badly scuffed up around the toe. Well, if you want this style of boot, Zamberlan do at least two. I think one's called the Lux. There's got a rubber rand. They're a bit heavier, but if that's your use of the boots, where you're going to be going up scree slopes, scrambling over rocks, they do another product for you. You might be asking yourself, what is a backpacking and trekking boot? Well, my interpretation, which is what I think Zamberlan think as well, is it's a boot that is going to take quite a bit of weight, so you've got a big rucksack on your back. I won't be using it as backpacking, but I'm afraid that I carry a lot of weight. It's going to need stability, particularly around the ankle. This is a problem that I had with the Targi. You are going to encounter difficult terrain every now and again, but it's not going to be what you're doing all the time. So take Zamberlan at their word. These are not mountaineering boots. If that is what you need, they've got other products in their lineup. Fit and sizing, I take a wide last, and this is what this one is. It's a wide last. They do the same boot in a regular. I would say in UK terms it's a sort of GH width. In US terms, which I personally find more helpful, it's probably a double E, whereas the Targi 3, Targi 2 would be a triple E, very wide. The general sizing, the length, many reviews are saying it runs a half size, that's a half UK size, small, and I would agree with that. If you're going to buy online, and you can buy that Euro size up, so I went from 47, my regular size, to 48, I would do that, and we'll see how it goes. As for the insole, which can change the volume of the boot and affect the length and width, I'm going to see how the ones supplied with the boot work. They look to be a really good quality, but always be prepared, not just with these but with any boots, to swap it out for a gel insert to give you that bit of cushioning, or if you've got high arches, a high arch support insole. There's all sorts of stuff and all sorts of quality of insoles which we'll have a look at. Forgot to mention, hence the different background, and that's about the leather. It is a full grain leather. That is with the epidermis to the outside. It's not been sanded down to the point where it becomes a nubuck. It's not a suede where the epidermis is actually being shaved off completely. And it's not a rough out where we're looking at the reverse or flesh side. It is full grain, but unlike a full grain where you're seeing all the character of the animal, we've not got that. What do I mean by the character of the animal? Well, you can get things like insect bites, thorn scars, snags from barbed wire fences and the like, and this will show up in the leather, and a lot of people look for that, particularly in heritage boots, thinking about Truman boots, red wing boots and the like. You're not going to find that here. The leather is very smooth, and I think that is down to the hydroblock tanning process. It's a very smooth leather. That smooth finish adds to the surface tension, which in itself will repel water. It's such a tight surface. If it was an open surface, think of a suede, water would sink in, particularly if it hasn't been waxed and processed. There's absolutely no character to the leather. Don't expect it to develop a patina over time other than the odd scuffs that you've put on. You need to remember this is a trekking boot, not a fashion boot. It hasn't got any embossed grains that have been made by a machine. It's been made to perform, and when you're trekking, particularly over multi-days, having dry feet is much more important than having boots that look the part, and that's what Zamberlan have done. It's a very focused boot, and I think a lot of people are forgetting that. So if you're looking for a great character leather, you better look elsewhere. That just about wraps it up. I hope it's been helpful in trying to explain what this boot is, what the boot's about. I had started to prepare a sort of what's the boot like in use video. I'm not entirely sure whether that's going to be very helpful, but just to tell you that I was having a little bit of a braking problem on the left foot with a hot spot. The right foot, I could have walked straight out of the box miles and miles. It's doing well. I have swapped the Zamberlan insoles for other aftermarket insoles, and it has made an improvement. Please look out for my other boot reviews, my other walks. I'm pretty sure the next one that I'm going to put up is actually a walk report from the Picos de Europa in northern Spain. So it'd be really appreciated if you could look out for that one. Have a look at the videos available in the channel, and I'll see you next time.